Today is December 11th, 2023. The time is 6:59 a.m. In this video, I will discuss anti-Semitism and the First Amendment of the United States of North America. I have many questions that I would like to address in this video. Number one, does the First Amendment give me the constitutional right to be anti-Semitic? This is what the U.S. Bill of Rights has to say. Amendment 1. Congress shall make no laws respecting an establishment of religion, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. In this video, I definitely want to discuss religion and the free exercise thereof as it relates to anti-Semitism and Israel's right to exist. Revelation 2:9. I know thy works, and tribulation, and poverty, but thou art rich. And I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews, and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. Do I have a constitutional right to equate this scripture with the state of Israel? Israel's ambassador, this is an article from Jewish News Syndicate, and it states Israel's ambassador to UN goes biblical during meeting with Security Council. Israeli ambassador to the United Nations, Danny Danon, said the four pillars for Israel's existence are the Bible, history, international law, and the pursuit of international peace and security, in that order. Because Ambassador Danny Danon said the Bible was one of the pillars of Israel's existence, and I have, as an amendment one, the Congress shall make no laws respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. Does that amendment give me the right to equate Revelations 2:9 with the state of Israel and Zionism? This is a document from the U.S. State Department defining anti-Semitism. Anti-Semitism is a certain perception of Jews, which may be expressed as hatred towards Jews. Rhetorical and physical manifestations of anti-Semitism are directed towards Jewish or non-Jewish individuals and or their property, toward Jewish community, institutions, and religious facilities. Do I have a right, as an American citizen with constitutional protections, that says I have freedom of religion and the free exercise thereof? Can I equate, I know thy works, and tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich, and I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not, but are of the synagogue of Satan? Can I equate that to Israel? Can I be, because Israel is stating that the Bible is one of the pillars of their existence, and I have the freedom of religious expression, can I say that the state of Israel is the synagogue of Satan, and that Zionists are so-called Jews, according to Revelation 2:9? Do I have a constitutional right to say that? Do I have the constitutional right, based on my religious freedom, to deny the Jewish people their right to self-determination and denying Israel the right to exist? Does my constitutional protections give me the right to say that? Recently, I'll go up a bit. In the House Resolution 894, in the the House of Representatives on December 5th, 2023, put this out, stating clearly and firmly states that anti-Zionism is anti-Semitism. What does this mean? What does what is a what is this bill trying to say to me? That if I condemn Zionism, I'm being anti-Semitic? But my constitutional protection says that I can interpret the Bible upon which Israel's existence is based. Let's look at Zionism. Zionism and Israel. And this is coming from Harvard University. Zionism is a political movement that was initiated in the late 19th century with the aim of actualizing the Jewish sense of peoplehood and a physical nation, leading to the creation of the State of Israel in 1948. Zionism today informs many Jews' continued support and commitment to Israel. Do I have a right to criticize Zionism? Can I legitimately say, based upon my constitutional protections, that Israel does not have a right to exist on Palestinian land? That's my opinion. I got that right. Why? Because I have First Amendment protections. When we talk about Zionism, I want to bring this particular UN resolution 3379. I want to read it to you, give you an idea of why House resolution, this saying that anti-Semitism, the anti-Zionism is anti-Semitism. But this bill let's read what the bill says. Recall, this is 3379, elimination of all forms of racial discrimination. Recalling its resolution 1904 of 20 November 1963, proclaiming the United Nations Declaration on the Elimination of All Forms of Racial Discrimination, and in particular, its affirmation that any doctrine of racial differentiation or superiority is scientifically false, morally condemnable, socially unjust, and dangerous, and its expression of alarm at the manifestation of racial discrimination still in evidence in some areas in the world, some of which are imposed by certain governments by means of legislative, administrative, or other measures. Recalling also that in its resolution 3151G of 14 December 1973, the General Assembly condemned inter alia the unholy alliance between South African racism and Zionism. I'm going to move down a little bit. Taking note also of the political declaration and strategy to strengthen international peace and security and to intensify solidarity and mutual assistance among non-aligned countries, adopted at the Conference of Ministers for Foreign Affairs of non-aligned countries held at Lima from 25 to 30 August of 1975, which most severely condemned Zionism as a threat to world peace and security, and called upon all countries to oppose this racist and imperialist ideology. Determines that Zionism is a form of racism and racial discrimination. That was the policy effective December 10th, 1975. This policy was changed when George Herbert Walker Bush advocated for the removal of this term, this phrase right here, that Zionism is a form of racism. I want to look at the Holocaust. The Holocaust was a systematic state sponsored prosecution and murder of 6 million European Jews. And I'm emphasizing European Jews, by the Nazi German regime and its allies and collaborators. The Holocaust was an evolving process that took place throughout Europe, highlighting Europe, between 1933 and 1945. This is the continent of Europe. This is where the Holocaust took place. And the European Jews living on the European continent believed it was in their best interest if they all plucked up and moved to Palestine and started them a new homeland. This would eliminate all anti-Semitism, all pogroms against the Jewish people. What we're looking at here, I'm going to read this document because this document says a lot. And what we're seeing here is, it says here that on November 2nd, 1917, the British government expressed its sympathy with Jewish Zionist aspirations and announced that it would use its best endeavors to facilitate the establishment in Palestine of a national home for the Jewish people. So European Jews thought it was best, or Britain thought it was best, that they go to Palestine because they'll be safe in Palestine. The announcement came in a letter from Foreign Secretary Arthur Ballard to Lionel Walter, 2nd Lord Rothschild, 1868-1937, the unofficial leader of the British Jewish community. The Balfour Agreement became the diplomatic foundation stone of the State of Israel. The origins of the letter had begun in the early 20th century when Chaim Weizmann, the leading spokesman for Zionism in Britain, began to solicit support among the British people shortly after he settled in Manchester. So, the British people thought it was a good idea that the European Jews leave the European continent and move to Palestine to end all of the pogroms, all of the anti-Semitism. Beginning in 1916, the British hoped that in exchange for their support of Zionism, listen carefully, the Jews would help to what? Finance the growing expenses of the First World War. The Balfour Declaration used deliberately vague language. The term national home was chosen in order to minimize the Zionist dream to make Palestine a Jewish state. The Arabs, whose civil and religious, not national and political, rights were not to be prejudiced, as the Declaration put it, were referred to only as existing non-Jewish communities. What right did British people have to say that they can give European Jews a home in Palestine? Who are the Rothschilds? I mean, look at the letter. Foreign Office, November 2nd, 1917. Dear Lord Rothschild, I have much pleasure in conveying to you, on behalf of His Majesty's government, the following declaration of sympathy with Jewish Zionist aspirations, which has been submitted to and approved by the Cabinet. His Majesty's government view with favor the establishment in Palestine of a national home for the Jewish people, and will use their best endeavors to facilitate the achievement of this object, it being clearly understood that nothing shall be done which may prejudice the civil religious rights of existing non-Jewish communities in Palestine, or the rights and political status enjoyed by Jews in any other country. I should be grateful if you would bring this declaration to the knowledge of the Zionist Federation. Yours sincerely, Arthur James Balfour. Who are the Rothschilds? According to ynetnews.com, the Rothschilds, the perfect combination of the power, money, and influence. Ever since their humble beginnings in the 18th century, this family has had unmatched sense of business and were artful at connecting with the right people all over Europe leading up to the World War I, amassing untold billions and creating one of the most impressive business empires ever. I want you to look at this document here. Let's see. Oh, I can't go any further with that one. But anyway, do I have a right to be anti Semitic based on the First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution, which states Congress shall make no laws respecting the establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. Do I have the right to be anti Semitic? I'll leave it there.